Hello my dear YouTubers, I hope you're all keeping well. Now, a while back when I released my setting up the Logitech Flight Yoke system with Flight Simulator 2020, a few people were saying that in their options and in their controls, they weren't getting things like flight control services, so your left and right and pitch up and down, and things like secondary, increased flaps and trimming that come as default with the Logitech Flight Yoke unit. I think people with the Cessna Cytec Cessna Pro unit or something of that sort were getting something like, let me just show you, like this. Nothing showing. Apparently, I can't validate this because my system is obviously supported and comes with a default set or a default profile, which I've changed, as you saw in that video that I've just linked. But essentially some people with some controllers are saying they get nothing showing here and nothing showing here, no picture. So in this video I'm going to show you how to set up your controller from scratch. Set up your flight control services and throttle and camera and all that good stuff. So let's get into it. So what you want to do first, if you're getting something like this, you want to go to filter and you want to change that to all. Just click this arrow here and it shows you all the possible services and buttons you can set up. Let's go with flight control first. The aileron, the left and right movement of your joystick or yoke, that's the axis. You want to click in that box, click in the start scanning, and move your, let's just say you've got a yoke system, move your yoke left. It will pick up the axis. Click validate. And the elevator, so your pitch up and down, click in that, so your elevator axis. Click in that box. Click start scanning. In my case, I'll move my yoke backwards. And it's picked up the whole axis, the sort of movements of forward and backwards and left and right with the aileron. So click validate there. Click apply and save, very important. If we go back to that filter and go to assigned now, so change it to assigned, it shows you what axis you have assigned. So we've got our left and right, our ailerons, and we've got our pitch up and pitch down. That's all assigned and good. So let's continue. Let's go back to filter all. Now we want to set up our flaps. So we're done with our primary flight control units. If you had a rudder pedals, click in the axis and move your rudder left or right, and that will pick up the axis and validate and apply. But I'm done with that. So let's go to secondary. Now flaps. To set up your flaps, you want to click on this flaps axis, -1 to 100%. Click in the box. On my throttle unit, I like to use my rightmost lever. I'll link you to a video of my replica 737 handles and levers for the Logitech Flight Yoke throttle system. So I use the rightmost lever. So I'll click and start scanning. You use whatever button or lever you want. But the way to do it is click and start scanning. I want this as an axis, so I'm going to use my rightmost lever. I'll just move it down. It's picked up that axis. Click on validate. I usually have that on reverse because if you look at that video that I've just linked, you'll notice that when my flaps are fully retracted, the lever is pushed right to the top. But if you don't want that, if you want your flaps to deploy from the bottom upwards, don't click reverse. Go and watch that video, it will explain everything. For the spoilers, I've got a lever for that as well. And it's up to you if you want to assign it to a lever or buttons. If you don't want to assign it to flaps to a lever, just click in increase flaps continuously. Oh no, sorry, increase flaps, not continuously. This box here, you've got a button on your yoke system you would like to use to increase flaps. Click on that. Click on the button. So if I choose a button on my yoke, on my left side of the yoke, I've got a rocker switch. I can move that up to increase flaps. I'm not going to set that because I've got my flaps on an axis, but that's how you would do it via button. For my spoilers, I've got an axis lever I would like to use there, so I'll click on start scanning, I'll move my leftmost lever down, and now that is assigned to the axis for the spoilers, and I'll click on reverse for the same reasons that I mentioned before. So that's now my secondary. That's all I need for my secondary flight control services. So now let's click on control trimming services. So here I want my ailerons, so that's my left and right trim for my aircraft. Aileron left trim. I've got a rocker switch on my yoke system. I'll move it left. It depends where you want it. That's why I'm not showing you exactly where I'm assigning it. But whatever rocker switch or button you want that assigned to, you choose. I've got a rocker switch I want this to, so I'll move that left. Click validate. Aileron trim right. Same rocker switch, but I'll move it right. Click validate. And same with the elevator, so your trim nose up, nose down, that's at the bottom of that control trimming services page. Elevator trim down, I've got a rocker switch I like, so I'll move that up and click validate. And on the same rocker switch, I'll move it down to trim nose up, which makes sense when you're flying. So I'll choose that, click validate there. Apply and save, very important. Go back to filter. Now you will see all those surfaces we've just set up, all those axes we've just set up, and now all assigned. So I'll just move the various axis levers and the yoke system as well. You can't see the aileron or elevator trim in action here, but it's all assigned. So now let's continue setting this, setting your flight yoke unit or your joystick up. You want a throttle axis if you've got levers, and if you've got a little lever on your joystick you want to set that up too if it's not supported. So go to all again. You want to go right down to power management, so we can click up there because we set our flight control services. Power management. Now you can set, if you want your levers on your throttle unit set as mixture and propeller, here's where you set your mixture, that box. I don't with mine because I have them set up for the flaps and speed brake. And the propeller, same thing, propeller axis. So those are the boxes for them. Like I said, I'm not going to set them up because I don't have my aircraft set up that way. But what is important is the throttle axis. It's this box here. So we'll click into that. I actually have my middle lever on my throttle unit set as my axis. Again, go and watch that video I linked before about the 737 replica handles. And that's why the middle one is set for me for my throttle. So I'll click in there, move my throttle up. Now the whole axis is set as throttle. Apply and save. Go back to assigned. And you will see now if I move my throttle down, that means the throttle is 0. Move it up, that's when it's fully deployed. So there you go, that's how you would set that up. And so continuing, we'll go to filter again. We've set up our flight control services and power management, so our throttle and our flight control services. Let's go to filter again and go to all. We'll just set up a few miscellaneous items now. Brakes. I want my brakes. So not parking. You can set your parking brake here if you want to. I just want my brakes when I need to brake my aircraft. I've got a button on my yoke system that I like to use for that. So I'll click in the box there. Choose whatever button you want, start scanning, press the button, that's now my brakes. Click validate, click apply and save. Landing gear, I actually have a toggle landing gear, so that'll move the landing gear either up or down, it'll just toggle it. I've got a button I like set for that on my throttle system this time, so on my throttle quadrant. So what I'll click in the box there. Click and start scanning. and press the button on my throttle quadrant. And that's now set up as my toggle landing gear. That will lower and raise my landing gear. Click validate and click apply and save. And there's another one that I like. See if I can find it. Is it miscellaneous? If you can't find it, search by name. I want to set active toggle active pause. It's under menu. I've got a button on my throttle quadrant I use for this again. So I'll click in the box. Active pause, by the way, it means it will pause your aircraft, but the world around you will still continue. So if you need to pause in flight and check out an airport ahead to see where the runways are, to see what direction they're going, it's useful for that. So I'll click in the start scanning box, press the button on my throttle quadrant, boom, click validate, and now I've got that set up too. Apply and save. Now, let's clear that box so it shows all the possible options you can set up. I want to go to my camera next. Let's just click there, camera. Thank you very much. Let me just search. I want to toggle. I have a switch to toggle cockpit external view mode. So what it will do, it will click a button on my throttle quadrant again. It will toggle external mode. Click it again, it will go back into cockpit. Click in the box here. Start scanning. I've got a button on my throttle quadrant, like I said. I'll click on that. And validate. And apply and save. So now that's set up. I also like cockpit camera reset cockpit view. Let's see if we can find that. Where would it be? So reset cockpit view. There we are. I'll click on that, click in the box, start scanning, set whatever button you would like. Again, it's on my throttle quadrant. I'll click a button there. That's now going to reset my cockpit view. If I move around the cockpit, I can't get it back into the center. That button will do it for me. Validate. And quickly, we'll do the views. Go and look at this video I'm linking about how to set your hat switch up so it behaves normally. I'm just going to put it in the default view that Flight Simulator puts it in, just for the purpose of this video, so we don't go, the video doesn't go on for too long. So let's just see now. It should be a quick view left. That's right, quick view left. Click in that box. Click on start scanning. I'll move my hat switch left. That will just give me a quick view out of the left window. Click validate. Quick view right. Again, I'll click in the box, start scanning. I'll move my hat switch right. Validate. I'll apply and save that at the same time. I could say I want to look behind me. So I'll click on the cockpit rear view. Start scanning, move my hat switch down so I can look behind me quickly. Validate. And let's just see, I could say cockpit view up. Although I don't really, yeah, I could just, for the purpose of this video, cockpit quick view up. Click in that, start scanning, move my hat switch up, and validate. And I might as well apply and save that. If you want to just go through this cockpit, so make sure you're on cockpit camera. If you want to set all these buttons up, so you want a button to show on your flight yoke unit or joystick or throttle quadrant, you want a button just to cycle through the different views. So you're flying a 747 or the Airbus and you want different custom views, you can set them up this way. Just assign a button or a button on your keyboard for it. I won't go into them in this video. If I do that, that will be a completely separate video. And you've got all these different options. So cockpit look right, that will just simply, if I assign that to my hat switch, it would just move right gradually and move left gradually, move up gradually, move down. You could go cockpit look up right. Actually, a couple of comments on my previous videos actually corrected me on this. You want to go to that instead of start scanning, because it's difficult to get it from start scanning. So cockpit look upright. Go to select input and look for the POV switch here that shows it going upright, which would be that one there. And then you can validate that if you want. I don't. For the purpose of this video, I just set up the quick views, left, right, up, down. Anyway, we'll apply and save that. Go back. No, actually don't go back. Let's go to filter assigned. Come on, assigned. And now it shows all those glorious buttons that we've just set up. So our viewing system, our reset cockpit, our brakes, our ailerons, our elevators, our secondary control units, flaps, spoilers, or flaps, spoilers, control surfaces, trimming left and right, trimming up and down, our landing gear, our toggle active pause, our throttle. If you want to set up more controls, I mean this is good enough to get you up and running. If you want to set up more, just go to filter all and go through the different, so click out of camera, click out of autopilot, click out of brakes, go through the different options. If you want flaps and increments, flaps set up for different buttons, flap 1, flap 2, flaps 3, flaps 4, with different buttons or different keyboard buttons, you can do that. Decrease flaps continuously, so if you press it, it'll just move it way back, or increase it, it'll just move it way forward, or you can do it in stages, extend flaps, and increase flaps and retract flaps. Just go through all the different buttons combinations, and that's how you would set them up. And if we go back to assigned, it shows you what we have set up so far. Let me show you with the current setup I have here how it goes, how it looks in game. Okay, so here we are in Gatwick Airport with that profile that we've just set up. Now, one thing I didn't mention, as default, Flight Simulator 2020 has these quick view options. If you look left, you have to hold your hat switch left. Release it, it'll go back to normal. Look right. You have to hold your hat switch right and release it, it'll go back to the center. Look behind me, release it, it'll go back to the center. Look up, release it, it'll go back to the center. To change that, which is the way I actually still play it today and the way I prefer, go to, let's go back there, press escape, go to options, go to general, in general go to camera, where it's got the quick view function, change that to toggle, apply and save, go back, resume, and now what that does, if you move left, you can take your hand off the hat switch. You have to press left to move it back to center. Do it whichever way you prefer. Like I said, if you want your hat switch to behave like it did in Flight Simulator X, go and watch that video I linked before. You can actually just set your hat switch so it behaves as a hat switch normally does. I just prefer this. I've got so used to just moving left and right. But anyway, that works. Let's go left actually and show you the flaps we've set up. So that lever I set up for flaps, the flaps axis, move it down slightly, flaps 1, move it down slightly, flaps 2, deploy fully, flaps 3, retract fully, it'll move all the way back up. So that works. I'll use my mouse here now, right click and hold. And just to move the camera down, I'll show you the throttle works fine as well. As you can see, I'm just moving my throttle. I've got the parking brake on, so it's not going to move. That works fine. I don't have speed brakes or spoilers in the Cessna, of course. But the button I set up on my throttle unit to reset my camera view, I'll press it. Works fine. The button I set up for external works fine. Now I can use my right mouse, hold the right mouse button down, I can move around my aircraft. You can do that in flight as well. Press that cockpit external view toggle again. I go back into the cockpit. So as you can see, it's all working fine, but I'll tell you what we'll do. Let's go for a quick flight. I'll move my flaps. I've just released my parking brakes. I'll move my flaps down one. Go full throttle. I hope I've centered my yoke system because it might start moving left or right. It's moving slightly left, in fact. Never mind. It's just a bit of a drift issue that I sometimes have to reset on my yoke system. Heck, I'll link that video too, why not? Coming up to takeoff speed, I've got flaps deployed, so I should be able to take off nice and easy. As you can see, it all works. I shouldn't retract flaps here, but I will to show you. It works fine. And I'm using my viewing system there as well. Absolutely no problem. If I want to pause it, I've got my active pause set up. There you go. You can see here, it's actually active pause for you. What you can do here is like go outside, go to showcase. It will go into your drone camera. This will be in a separate video as well. I don't want to explain this system, but you can actually look around the airport if you want to, or the surrounding area, or goodness knows what. And the simulation is paused. Go back to the cockpit, press your active pause again, and the simulator will go back. I'm trimming up because I didn't set my trim. There you go, now it's trimmed up, so it's climbing. If I find myself moving slightly left or right, I've got my elevator trim, it's moving slightly left. So I'll set my elevator trim slightly right, and as you can see, it's fine. Need to get that trim right, just trimming up on the buttons I set. Don't want it to go up too far, so just trimming down slightly. But there you go, as you can see, that's better. It works just fine. Trim back up again. Now I'm moving slightly right, so I'll just set my, let's just see, aileron trim there. But as you can see, I could play around with this forever, but it works as intended. So there you go, let's active pause that. Let me know your thoughts. Has this video been of help for you? I hope it has. If you're encountering other problems with your, say for example, Cytec throttle unit, I know some people are jumping, the flaps are not working correctly. I can't really help you with that. Go to Google for that, because I don't have that problem, I don't have that experience to help you with that. But I hope this has helped you if you're having trouble assigning certain axes and buttons. I hope this is of help. Let me know your thoughts. Give the video a like if you liked it, I'll appreciate that. Subscribe for more, plenty more videos coming, and I'll see you soon.